Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, which means this is Dana from the Arts Partnership, and it's time for Tap Talk. Sorry, I thought I was moving my screen, and instead all I did was shake it weirdly. So sorry about that. It is a beautiful Thursday, the middle of summer. And so it makes perfect sense that we would be talking to today's guest. I'm going to bring him on camera. Then I'm going to say his name, and then he's going to correct how I say his name because I'm close, but close is not good enough. As someone whose last name often gets mispronounced, I'm aware of it. So, Franklin Ugochukwu. Ugochukwu.
Yes, I'll give you an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, that's not too bad, Franklin. Now
Nah,
you say it for a 10 out of 10.
yes, it's Franklin Ugochukwu.
Okay. I think our oohs are not quite the same. Yours is better.
Thank you. I hope so. I've had the name all my life.
I was going to say, I hope yours is better as well. It's more important that you say it correctly than that I do. But all right, you're not on today to talk about your last name, as incredibly
Yes.
interesting as it is. We're on to talk about you as one of our partner artists and as just, in my perspective, such an interesting artist because you're
Aw.
such a talented, realistic painter. And yet there's a very distinct and definite style to your work. So, Franklin, tell us first of all what kind of artist you are. How do you define yourself?
Yes, I'm a visual artist. I have prior experience in printmaking, drawing, ceramics. That's one of the perks of going to college. You just learn different types of stuff. But I zeroed in on oil painting. And it first started out with learning how to paint animals and stuff. And over time, my interest just like narrowed in on portraiture because I love
Yeah.
faces. Faces tell a lot of stories, and I've never left since. All faces everywhere.
I think I I'm coming back with you. Can you hear me echoing?
Oh no, it's
Oh,
fine over here.
okay, well, we'll hope that it's just on my side then. Um, so I love that point about one of the perks to getting a BA or a BFA in art is that
Yes.
you really get to experience the whole compendium of visual art making. Um, so you settled on oil painting. So you
Yes.
maybe don't know this about me, Franklin, but I am truly one of life's terrible, terrible visual artists. Stick people
No.
are a little beyond me. So I have tremendous regard for people who can pick up a brush or a pen and pencil or a piece of charcoal
Yeah.
and create anything. But oil painting feels to me like maybe the most difficult of the painting medium. So how did you settle on oil?
It's just going off what you said, it can be very intimidating at first because especially when you don't have proper guidance to
Hmm.
it, so it can be a pain. How I zeroed in on it, when I came to college, I went to Minnesota State University, by the way, and like I said, you take all these intro classes just to see what you love to do. And I was always comfortable with just drawing because I know all I need is my paper, my graphite pencils, and all that. I was very comfortable with that, but I always loved the idea of like, just painting because I'll see them hanging around school in the art department, and I'm like, I want to do that. So when I talked to one of my professors, Sherry Shorts,
Hmm.
there she told me that hey, like it's a class, right? You go to class to learn stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that leap, and I took my first intro painting with Zimi Guan.
Oh, you love your hands.
I know, with Zimi, and I'm not gonna lie, it kicked my butt initially, but I was so interested in it, and with time it got easier, and that's the cool thing about it. Over time, just like anything we do, like the first time you drove a car, like you didn't drive it very good, right? But like
That's true.
over time now you get into your car and it's like second nature. You don't even think of driving before you know you're at your destination. So over time it got slightly easier, and obviously like having the guidance of Zimi and all the professors at MSUM, it was good. So I found oil painting, I loved it, and I do not let go of it. I envy a lot of artists who can just pick and choose what they want to use in terms of medium. But like if I pick up even acrylic paints right now, I'm almost like a toddler learning to walk. That's how much I love oil painting and just stick to it and don't even try anything else. I mean, I try every now and then just for inspiration, but I love my oil paints a lot.
Well, I think it's really encouraging to hear such an accomplished visual artist also say that there are elements or facets of your artistic form that even you feel are a struggle or a challenge. Because I think one of the things that makes the arts feel unapproachable is, for
Mhm.
instance, let's look at this little person who's behind you with the yellow background. Um,
Yes.
you know, I can't do that. I can't imagine how you can do that. And so it's easy to feel overwhelmed by talent and assume that if you don't have that talent, that sort
Oof.
of bred, born talent, that
Oof.
you can never be a painter. You can never enjoy the process.
Yes.
So I know that one of the things you just recently started, I think you just started it, is teaching.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to me about that, Franklin, because again, I am not only, I don't have any innate skill set for drawing, but I
Yeah.
also have a lot of fear around just showing up and trying because I'm so judgmental of myself. So talk
Yes.
to me about why somebody like I should show up in a class and
Oh,
go through it.
how much time you got today?
We got
How
about
much?
5 minutes, Franklin.
Okay, here's the thing. Initially, before I talk about my teaching, initially I shared this common perception that to be able to do something like what I do now as a career, you needed to have this. The two words that always pop up, and I've said this a million and one times: gift and talent.
Mm.
Now, when I took my first oil painting class, I didn't see any of those, the gifts or talent. And, my whole philosophy with art, and even when I teach people, is kind of like the example I made earlier about the first time you drove a car, you were terrified, you were scared, you didn't drive that car good, right?
Mhm.
And, I used to have this popular belief that, like, you can't do this thing because you needed to be gifted or talented. I felt like that was limiting to a lot of other people. So my whole career and my whole content I create on social media is all about like empowerment to everyone who wants to try. Because I never liked that idea of people being discouraged and not wanting to, try something because they feel like they don't have that innate skill or talent. I hate that philosophy. So like anytime I have people in my class, like I let them know beforehand, like, hey, this is what my paintings used to look like, and this is what they look like now 6 years later. There's nothing that makes me special to do this. You can do this as well. The same way you can learn to drive a car or stuff like that. Because I went through that. Because like my first class, I don't even have some of my initial paintings because I threw them away because like they look bad or whatnot. But like I said, as time goes on, you get better at whatever skill you apply yourself into. I like to think there's no talent per se. It's more just about passion, how much you want it.
Oh, wow.
Because I remember the first time when I was a kid, my dad was teaching my older sister how to drive, and I'll just be in the back seat just waiting for my turn. And like when the day came for me to start learning, I hopped on it and I was doing it because like I wanted it so bad. My sister, who was being taught, she didn't want it because she was terrified and scared or whatnot. So that's the kind of vibe I bring to my class. I teach classes at the Plains Art Museum. I teach all ages from young to old. And more than the skill I'm teaching them, I try to instill that belief in them that, hey, like you can do this. And I always like to show that back and forth. This is me in 2016, and this is my painting now in 2020. Don't tell me anything about talent or gift. Just go for it. And I see it gives people so much belief. My last intro class at the Plains, it was a 4-day course, and from the first day, you visibly notice how terrified and anxious they are. But on the fourth day, it's almost like they're a new person because they have so much confidence because they see what a little guidance and hard work can do. And
Mhm.
they're just so full of life, and that is so fulfilling for me and for them too, just to see them killing it. So like if I can get every artist to that, mindset, I'll be a happy man. Everyone I encounter, like just do it. Just do it. It gets better. Yeah.
It's really smart life advice, not just painting advice, Franklin.
Really,
Um,
thank you.
and you're right. I mean, almost everybody, certainly almost everybody in America, went through the experience of learning to drive. And now, now we get in cars, some of the most dangerous things we put ourselves in, and we text and we put on makeup and we eat lunch,
Right.
we do all these things, and we don't think about it at all. So it's a really nice analogy because we can all kind of remember that initial fear and now know how for granted we take it.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about your art
Hmm.
because um, we live in a community that is becoming more diverse every day, which
Yes.
is great, but we
Yes.
don't have a tremendous number of African American, African descended artists
Hmm.
who we see a lot of work from. So to me, that's one of the things that makes your work most compelling is I think that across the country, we are seeing finally a real valuable interest in minority created art, but we often don't get to meet the artist. So now we're getting to meet the artist behind this work. Talk to me about just some of the ways that you are using your culture, your back experience,
Hmm.
your other lived time to bring
Right.
art to Fargo Moorhead.
Yes. Diversity is very big for me in my art. Diversity is big. Representation is big. You know what I'm saying? Because like minority groups deserve to be represented in like and show all the beauty we have to offer, all the beauty that is not always showcased by the general public. So, I remember when I had a residency at the mall, at
Mhm.
the West Acres Mall, and it was really good to meet new people and a lot of people encounter my art. But one thing that stuck with me was to see a lot of, especially minority groups and like kids, walk by my place and come in, and you could see the spark in their eye because like they're seeing themselves representing in this that space, and with so much love and with so much audacity, and it gives a lot of them so much joy, and that was very fulfilling for me. So just having people see their self represented in art is massive for me. And I tell stories with my paintings, be it story of like resilience, be it story of overcoming oppression, be it stories of just beauty in general, because black joy matters as well, not just the black trauma, the joy matters as
Absolutely.
well. Yeah, so like that's what I try to portray with my work. I wish I could show you a ton of stuff, but yeah, that's the biggest thing for me, just representation and bringing myself to people who might not necessarily have seen or encountered art like this in person, and make it very inclusive to them that, hey, check this out.
Mhm.
I'm very big on that.
You have such a warm and inviting personality. And I think that really comes through in your artwork. I mean, again, if we go back to this little person behind you, is that someone you know, Franklin?
No, it's a lot of my work just come from photographers I admire,
Mhm.
and I like take inspiration from their work and paint it.
Sure. Okay, so this little person, you can see in this little person's eyes, you can see a little mischief. You can
Yes.
see you can see a little fear. You can
Yes.
see a little curiosity.
Yeah.
And what I really love about it, again, because um, I so strongly resonate with your point about representation and also celebrating African and African American joy and minority joy. I don't like the word minority, but for the context of this conversation.
Context, yeah.
And also the commonalities. That little person could be anyone's child, because
Yes.
we can assume that that little person's probably 3 or 4. We all know 3 and 4-year-olds who have
Yes.
that look in their eyes.
Mischievous look.
Yeah.
I like that you said that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so clear. You've so humanized this little body, this little soul. And I just love that. It's both, I think, utterly important that this little person is African or African American, and utterly irrelevant because it's just a little person. And that is what I think your work does so well, is it's universal and representational.
Thank you. I love how people always connect to my paintings, because even when I'm at the Red River Market or somewhere and someone buys a print or something, I always like to ask them, like, what about this? Like, captured you? And like, basically what you just said is, I've heard like a million versions of that to different paintings. And I love it because, we all see different things, and how it resonates with our soul. So I love that you mentioned those things.
It's really joyful. So where can people, I've got your website up, but
Yes.
where can people find you live, Franklin, if they want to come and meet you, come and see your work in person?
Yes. Right now, I'm a part of the Red River Market.
Are you going to be there every weekend?
Yes.
Excellent.
All year long, because I want to meet as many people as possible. So the last Red River Market was the opening, which was last Saturday, and wow, that was my first time doing the Red River Market, and it was
I bet it was
wonderful.
intense, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness, it was wonderful. I met so many friends from college that I haven't seen in years because of COVID and all that and the pandemic. And I met a lot of new people, and my art got to find new homes with a bunch of people. So I'll be at every single Red River weekend for the rest of the year. The
Okay.
next one is on Sunday because the street fair is on
Oh,
Saturday.
sure.
So from Sunday at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I'll be out there with my booth and my tent, looking to interact with people and have a good time.
So the last thing I want to talk about, because I think another thing that can be a barrier for people, particularly portraiturists, because this work is time consuming. And so you're not buying a portrait of someone for $10, but you've done something so smart. You've figured out how to make your art both high art and accessible. So talk about if let's say I can't afford to buy a portrait, but I want your work, what can I get?
Yes, you can get, I don't know if you can see it, I have this lovely stickers of my work on my water bottle.
Yep, I can see them.
You can get stickers, you can get prints. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
I make like wonderful posters like this.
Excellent.
Yes, and I make like little prints, and I make shirts as well, and so many different things. I wish I wore one of my shirts today.
You should have worn a shirt, Franklin. It's all right.
I know, but yeah, what you said about accessibility, honestly, if not for the need of finances and stuff like that, I love sharing my work with people. My prints are as low as $15 because like I want everyone to have one, because like these paintings, they bring me so much joy. And like if that joy can be, transferred to someone by it just hanging on their wall in their kitchen somewhere else like that, it makes me so happy because I want everyone to have it. So yeah, having work for like different price values. Like the stickers are like 3 for $5. You can have a sticker on your laptop, on your car, something that goes with you. So I want everyone to, get a piece of it. So yeah, all this stuff can be found on my website. Thank you for having it on the screen. That's very convenient. Or like if you want to see me in person, I love meeting new people and chatting. So like if you're in town, come to the Red River Market, and I'm always somewhere in town doing a pop-up, or either at the mall or with Unglued, which we love, and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm always around.
Well, Franklin, this has been a really fun, quick conversation with you to
Thank
see your
you.
art, to learn a little bit more about you. And if nothing else, You've inspired me to let go of my own self-judgment and remember that I don't need to be an expert at it right out of the gate,
No.
and that the joy is in the effort. Maybe,
Yes.
I mean, I don't need to quit my day job and become a portraiture artist to
Right.
enjoy the process of creation.
Absolutely. And I love that you took that from it because I'm all about transparency. And I tell people, like, even till today, like, I still struggle with some paintings, so like it's an ongoing like learning process, So
Franklin,
what's up?
oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm having some work done in my basement, and I think it's made my internet funny. So I'm
Oh
sorry,
no.
we blipped for a second, but we're back.
Now we're back. But yeah, just encouraging
All
people,
right,
just
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 because
do
I
it.
think I'm losing stuff, we're going to wrap up. We'll be back next week. Franklin, thanks so much, so much for joining us. I'll see you at the market one of these weekends. Everybody
Yes.
else, I'll see you next week. Bye.
Yes. Thanks for having me.